What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today we're gonna try something a bit new. I love doing reviews. I've done a few of them on the channel already for some games that came out in 2024, but the issue is I don't always have enough to say about the games I play to make an entire video on them. So I thought, why not condense my thoughts on some games into a smaller video and have multiple mini reviews in one as a sort of journal of the games that I played in January and February. So that's what we're going to do today. This is the inaugural episode of the Gaming Journal. Is that a good name? I don't know. It doesn't really roll off the tongue, but I think this is going to be a fun idea because, again, there's a lot of games that I play that in the conversation of my channel just get thrown to the wayside because I don't have enough thoughts on them to make a whole 10-minute video to upload to this website. In today's video, I've got 7 mini reviews of the 7 games I played enough in the first 2 months of 2025 to really give my thoughts on them. I didn't finish every one of these games. There are some games on here that I did not complete for one reason or another, and you'll find out why when we talk about them. But I played a significant amount in all of these games, to the point where I think I can confidently give my thoughts on how enjoyable they were for me. And at the end of each mini review, I'll give a little score detailing how much I like the game. Now, obviously, I'm not IGN, I don't have some scientific method for how I come up with these scores. It's just a vibes-based assessment of how much I enjoyed the game on a scale of 1 to 10. But it's a fun little thing to debate in the comments below. And hey, if your favorite game is on here and I only gave it a 7 out of 10, argue in the comments and tell me why I'm wrong, and I'm happy to have a discussion on it. Because look, I didn't hate any of the games that I played that you're gonna see in this video. To a certain extent, I had fun with all 7 of them. So I'm not gonna get super scathing here about any of these video games, but obviously I have my preferences. One more thing. The games in this video are in the order of when I played them. So it's not by release date, it's not by completion date either, it's just by when I first picked them up. So the order is gonna look a little wonky, but that's why. Without further ado, let's get into the 7 games that I played in January and February of 2025. To start the year, I got a nasty cold that sapped my energy, so I needed something light to make me feel better. Enter New Super Lucky's Tale, a game made solely with fun in mind. It's not a very expansive game, taking me just a few hours to complete, but it packs every moment to the brim with colorful, creative environments, cute characters, and fun 3D platforming. If you want to switch it up though, other levels offer 2D platforming, auto-running, and sliding block puzzles. Plus, you can explore several hub worlds to look for hidden levels and secrets and purchase costumes for Lucky. Again, New Super Lucky's Tale isn't trying to blow you away, but it's an awesome 3D platformer full of charm. So that leaves just one more question. When is New Super Lucky's Tale 2 coming? 8 out of 10.
When the Tiki Tak tribe shows up and steals the banana horde?
What is there to say about Donkey Kong Country Returns that hasn't already been said? Now almost 15 years removed from its original release, it stands as one of the finest 2D platformers of the last 20 years, combining sleek level design with one of the greatest soundtracks the genre has to offer. I mean, if King of Swing doesn't make you feel something, you might not have a soul. Anyway, though its HD Switch counterpart doesn't add any additional content, it's still the definitive way to play DKC Returns, thanks to the up-res visuals and the carrying over of the levels from the 3DS port of the game. I'm also glad more people have gotten a chance to experience such a tremendous platformer, though I had already beaten the game a few times before replaying it this year. Was it worth spending $60? Maybe not, but I had a good time diving back into Returns once more. 10 out of 10, at least for the game itself. The port, it's not that great.
Oh, yeah!
That's right, I never completed Metroid Dread when it was released in October of 2021. In fact, I didn't even get close. Despite feeling immense excitement about its announcement and subsequent release, I burnt out in the game pretty quickly and moved on to the other releases 2021 had to offer. It was a pretty darn good year. For whatever reason though, I felt compelled to return to it in 2025, perhaps due to the impending release of Metroid Prime 4. And guys, I get it now. Metroid Dread is incredible. Its set design is smooth and alluring, its gameplay is incredibly satisfying, and its boss battles are a perfect blend of challenging and fun. Some of these baddies are no joke, but as hard as they are, you never feel cheated by the game. If you try to learn an enemy's moveset and plan how to counter it, you'll eventually beat them, as frustrating as it might be in the moment. I must have died to Kraid no less than 30 times, but man, it was satisfying to take him down. Look, I'm not great at video games, to be honest, but I never felt like quitting Metroid Dread. At least not after that initial short romp in 2021. It never failed to keep me coming back, a testament to how well designed it is. I'm still shocked that this game even exists, given its cult status in Nintendo circles for years, but I'm so glad that it does. 9 out of 10.
This game is for everyone. Every being?
While watching last year's Day of the Devs presentation, 2 games in particular caught my eye, and they happen to both come out this February. The first of these 2 games is While Waiting, a quaint puzzle game? I'm not quite sure what genre this game falls into. It sort of reminds me of WarioWare, but slower. Now, saying that out loud makes me realize how lame that sounds, but trust me, While Waiting is charming and fun. The hook is that you've got to find things to do while waiting for something to happen. Waiting to fall asleep, for your bus to arrive, for dinner to be ready. Every stage offers an interactive set piece with multiple secrets to find, all humorous and silly. Every level was clearly made with love and passion, and they've also got solid replay value since it's not possible to get every badge in one playthrough. It's a perfect game to play for a few minutes and unwind at the end of a long day, even if it's not the expansive masterpiece like some other games on this list. If you're a fan of point-and-click games or games with lots of humor and charm, you've got to check this one out. 7 out of 10. On paper, Far Cry 5 seems like a game that would appeal to me. It's got a beautiful, foresty open world, an odd rural setting, a bizarre story centered around a cult, and satisfying gunplay. But it felt like something was missing when I was playing it. Perhaps it was that story, which, despite its intriguing premise, doesn't feel like it goes anywhere interesting, at least not in the portion I played. Perhaps it's the gameplay, which sort of blends together with a lot of similar missions. Or perhaps it's John freaking Seed and his stupid bunker, which was so frustratingly hard that I closed the game multiple times, swearing I was done playing it. Seriously, what were they thinking making it so long and so difficult? So yeah, I didn't end up finishing the game. In fact, I didn't experience a majority of it. But I still don't fully regret my time spent with Far Cry 5. The character and set design in the game is still splendid, and its gameplay is fun and satisfying, if a bit repetitive. But considering how brutal that difficulty spike was, and how the ending of the game doesn't seem too rewarding, I don't think I'll be returning for more. 5 out of 10. If you follow Nintendo fans on Twitter, or any part of the internet for that matter, you've probably heard this phrase ad nauseum. You have got to play Xenoblade Chronicles. Xenoblade's small yet devoted fanbase swears by its series' gameplay, world design, and especially story. So after years of FOMO, I finally caved and bought Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition on the Switch. And, well, like with Metroid Dread, I I get it now. To say Xenoblade Chronicles blew me away would be an understatement. The world is vast, and though its graphical fidelity isn't the highest, it's still quite vivid and colorful, rife with details and enemies to encounter. The battle system is complicated, no doubt. I mean, it's a JRPG, what did you expect? But if you take the time to understand its nuances, it's incredibly satisfying to master. And boy, that story is breathtaking. Xenoblade is set in a unique sci-fi world, but its conflicts are so realistic and not unlike the ones we humans face in our world. The characters are so endearing and memorable, and they make you want to keep diving deeper and progressing the story just to learn more about them and their lives. Plus, I won't go into spoilers, but the narrative flows in a way you never expect. There are so many twists and turns, and it kept me on the edge of my seat. The only complaint I have is that I wonder if you-know-who really should have been you-know-what-it. If you play the game, you might know what I'm referencing. I understand why they made that decision, but I wonder if it saps the game of some of its narrative weight. Regardless, you know a game is good when you've only got nitpicks with which to criticize it. Xenoblade Chronicles certainly isn't for everyone, but I fell in love with it. Thus, I must repeat that dreaded phrase to you. You have got to play Xenoblade Chronicles. 10 out of 10. I really wanted to love After Love EP. After seeing it in last year's Day of the Devs presentation, I was hooked, thanks to its hand-drawn art style and its emotional narrative, and I had its release date circled on my calendar. When the time came to play it, however, I felt a little bit let down. Let's start with the positives. I adore this art style. It looked great in the trailers, but getting my hands on the game confirmed just how beautiful it looks. These areas are quite colorful, detailed, and full of life, and they add so much to the game's atmosphere and vibe. Similarly, the game's OST is incredible. L'Alfalfa, a real band who also plays a small part in the plot, recorded the soundtrack, and they did amazing. The post-hardcore and indie rock flavored instrumentals are all so memorable to the point that I had some of them stuck in my head weeks after I played the game. It's genuinely one of my favorite OSTs of the decade, if not ever, and it helps that I am just really into that genre of music. Now, about the rest of the game, it's fine. Upon starting it, I immediately got a Night in the Woods vibes, and it's easy to understand why. It's a narrative-based, slice-of-life game wherein you spend each day hanging out with one of your friends before the game gives you something to do later in the day. After that, you go to bed and repeat the process again. But where Night in the Woods shines with its emotional, captivating narrative and its multifaceted characters, I feel like After Love EP sort of falls flat. The game focuses on the story of Rama, whose girlfriend, Cinta, passed away 1 year before the game takes place, but he still communicates with her in his mind. That highlights the core reason I couldn't quite connect with this game like I wanted to. Cinta is essentially the game's main character, and we know next to nothing about her. She dies around 10 minutes into the story, no exaggeration, and the only representation we get of her is this bastardized version of her in Rama's mind. It's implied that the Cinta we talk to in the game isn't really an accurate representation of her true personality when she was alive, but we have no point of comparison with which to confirm that suspicion. And considering how often she speaks in the game, it all feels a bit awkward without that context, especially considering she juts her way into just about every one of Rama's conversations. There are other issues, especially with the fleshing out of the other characters, but I won't dwell on them. It's worth noting that the original creator of this game sadly passed away in the middle of its development, certainly impacting how the game turned out. I commend Pixelnesia for honoring Mohamed Fahmy and trying their best to finish this game after his passing, but it's devastating that we were robbed of his true vision. Inconsistent as it may be, I still really enjoyed my time with After Love EP. It's very heartfelt and has a killer vibe thanks to its art direction and sound design. Regardless of my gripes with it, I implore you to check it out if you're a fan of visual novels or just in the mood for something calm and endearing. I hope Pixelnesia continues to create games in the future. I'm excited for what might come next. 6 out of 10. Well, there you have it. Those are 7 games that I played for a good amount of time and some I even finished in the first 2 months of 2025. Let me know in the comments, which opinion do you disagree with most? Which game that I didn't rock with do you love? And which game that I loved do you love as well? Let me know. And also recommend games that I should talk about in next month's version of this video, where I talk about the games that I played in March and April. I'm open to suggestions, always looking for a new game to play, and I've got a few games already to add to the list when that video rolls around. Also, tell me in the comments how you like this format and any suggestions to improve it. I thought it would be a good idea to get some more games covered on this channel because I don't often get to talk about everything that I play. With that said, that's all I have for today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe, hit that big fat button, and again, comment anything you'd like. Share this video with someone who might enjoy it or someone who you know is a big fan of one of these 7 games. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next one.